Welcome back to another Brennon Willard podcast from the studios of LEB TV. Kevin Stubblefield and it's Willard's Wisdoms today. It's almost like Gilligan's Island. It's brought to you by Larry's Lakeside Auto Repair at Osage Beach, 573-302-1810. And a couple of shout outs today to McDowell Wrecker Service and Dynamic Diesel Repair, because you've needed the services of both of those fine businesses, haven't you?
We've had a... Ken Schrader one time told a guy that he'd been to 3 World Fairs and 2 pig you-know-whats and never seen nothing like this guy. I've been to all that, and I've never seen anything like the last 4 days. But it's been, or 5 days, I don't even know. It's been an adventure. And,
what happened to you kind of makes you appreciate problems on the track more, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then we had those too. So by the end of the races last night, my fun meter was pegged. And... So what a damn week. That's about all I can say. But
it can only get better.
It can only, maybe.
Yes,
maybe. But no, we had a couple weeks off, to regroup, and went to Springfield to test on Saturday, and had a decent test session. Big shout out to Jerry Hoffman for letting us test till 1 o'clock in the morning, literally. And I think we got done testing at 1:10, 1:15 in the morning. Just tested for 3 hours after the races, anything and everything we could think of. Left the racetrack, had an issue with the hauler leaving the racetrack. So we were stuck in the halfway in the lane and halfway on the shoulder of, I think it's East Traffic, whatever, Kearney Traffic Way, whatever that road is. So that was, I think, about 2 in the morning when we we're not even a mile from the racetrack. So my non-mechanical ass started getting on Google and figuring out what I could do. And so I did everything I could possibly do and ran through every diagnostic for an hour. Finally, the county deputy showed up, which thank God, because then he could sit behind the car with his flashers on so the drunks wouldn't hit us. And then we... I worked on another hour. Finally, Hoffman was working on the racetrack, which we'll get more into Jerry's show. But this dude worked till 4 o'clock in the morning on the racetrack after the races Saturday night to get ready for last night. And so I called him. I'm like, hey, I know you have I want to give Brian Myers a call at CNS. But I'm like, I'm not getting, Brian's a friend of mine. I'm not calling Brian, getting him out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. I know he don't care, but I care. I'm like, do you have a partner at the racetrack that's on call? It's in Springfield. It's already out and about. He's like, yeah, give me just a minute. And 20 minutes later, a wrecker shows up. And so big shout out to everybody at McDowell's. They were great people. They took care of us and hauled our hauler to my shop. And the guy looked at me like I was crazy when I told him that. And I'm like, we got to get the shop because if we had a chance, and thank God he was a race fan. And I saw him at the races last night. Did not get to, we were going across the scales and I saw him and wave. I didn't get to go talk to him. But anyway, I'm like, we need to get our hauler home. We have to unload. It's the only shot we had. So, Michael Jorgensen came over Monday at Dynamic Diesel Repair and worked diligently and troubleshooted. And I don't know how many hours he spent. Found the problem, electrical problem that we had. No major problem, just a little bit of electrical problem, but those are the hardest ones to find. And after all the time, so Trent Wynn, who we had on the show, was going to let me borrow his trailer. We had a backup plan. And my first backup plan was Tony Jackson and I can just share haulers. Well, Tony's truck's getting worked on right now. So neither one of us had a very good time. And Tony's truck's just getting some accessory work and some work done to his hauler. So his is in the shop. And I was like, hey, you can just use my hauler for Springfield. It's just Springfield. It's a Summer Nationals race. Use my trailer, whatever. Well, now we're both going on open trailers, no spring smashers, no nothing. And I'm like, this is going to be a complete Gilligan's Island is about the best way to describe it. And but they got Michael got our hauler fixed about 10:30 Monday night. Drove it, made sure everything was good. Got everything loaded up. Went to Springfield yesterday and started that crap show of a night. So, but we had decent speed early in qualifying and drew a bad number. And for the number we drew, for us to have the speed we did with the number we drew, I was happy with that. And then in the heat race, I made a bad call on carburetor and gear change. That was my call. Regretted it as soon as we crossed the start-finish line on lap 1. And lost power steering next to last lap. It started going out. And on a dirt late model, when you lose power steering, you immediately got to start looking at your oil pressure gauge because the power steering pump is driven off of the oil pump belt. So your oil pump, power steering pump, fuel pump, all on one. So if you lose fuel pressure, which we run a Super Bowl carburetor, so you have no fuel pressure gauge. So that's kind of handy. So if you lose power steering and then you better be looking at you better be ready to shut your motor off, or you better be looking at your oil pressure gauge because that means there's a 50-50 shot of your oil pump belt being off. And it's smoking, and I smelled power steering fluid probably halfway through the heat, and I'm like, I've smelled something, which I thought that's what it was, but I kept smelling it. And so anyway, the last lap was not fun, and we got to pits. That put us in a C, and got to the pits, and I want to give Chris Jaco and Tony Jackson a huge shout out. Like, they busted their butts on our car too to help us get back out to go to the C, and we had an oil line malfunction in the C feature, so I think we may have finished, but it was not good. So anyway, we pushed us to the truck and found our problems, and so today's a new day, and we're regrouping and getting ready to go to Muskogee. So glad the last 4 days over.
Guy almost has to laugh, doesn't he?
Yes, like it's it's comical, really, but it's part of it. Like, you try to maintain your stuff. Just a mechanical issue on the hauler. A power steering line got a hole in the line. Like, it wasn't anybody's fault. Just stuff happens. So it's just part of it. And if you think you're going to drive one of these cars without power steering, you're sadly mistaken. So it was an interesting night, to say the least, but a great race. Hoffman had a badass racetrack. Like, he took his time working over the racetrack, making sure he had a good feature. And what was cool to see was, a 3 wide. They were 3 wide for the lead with 2 to go. And, Turbo won there at the end. But then the B-Mod feature, Chris Jackson had his hands full, barely won there. I don't really know who won the Midwest Mod feature, but it was 3 wide most of the race with both Ben Newell, Dayton Newell, and Brookshire. Yep. They were 3 wide. So
Dayton finished second, and Ben came in fourth.
Those guys were 3 wide most of the race. The pure stock race, this Mark Simon is on the fuel in a show, and that was unbelievable to watch that. And I know Dustin Jarrett was there from Flow, and that was his first time in Springfield. And here's the deal: Springfield needs a Flow Night in America race. It's got to happen. Night before the Show Me, or the Wednesday before the Show Me, or Tuesday before the Show Me. If they want to do that, like, they need one of those. They need a Flow Night in America. Like, that racetrack put on a tremendous show, and it always does. And it was good, And another thing was cool for our local fans. World of Outlaws rained out Monday, so all the World of Outlaw teams were headed to, I think they're going to Minnesota, somewhere up north. They all were here. So you got 90% of the World of Outlaw field, your Summer National field, your local guys. You had a really, really good, you basically had a full World of Outlaw show at Springfield for $5,000 to win. So there's 45 cars and late models only. So it was an incredible show. The checkered flag flew at 10:26. And that's like, there's been a lot of promoters catching heat on classes and stuff going late. It's 95 degrees. You can't start earlier. People have to be able to get there off work. And when it's 95 degrees, you got to be really careful how you start. Hoffman started right when he could have. He couldn't have started any earlier because of the heat. And the support classes that he had there at the beginning was just enough to keep your show rolling. Then he put all the sport class features but one at the end, and it was incredible. Like, most of the crowd stood around and watched it. And if you're watching on TV, you're going to more than likely not going to watch it. You're going to go to bed. But 1027 checkered flag that's what you want. I understand it's a weeknight. People got to get to work, but you can only do so much. You know what I mean? And he has to have 4 classes of cars to get his back gate up to pay the $50,000 it costs to put this race on. So, like, as a racer, you get spoiled and you're like, let me get on the damn racetrack and get to my hall and go to the next race. Well, it's not about you. It's about the crowd. It's about the people watching on TV as well, but the racetracks have to make money, and everybody's in this together. So to see the race we saw last night and all the races, the crowd got to see an incredible show. And if you didn't like that, I'm sorry. You're not going to – I don't know what you're going to like. It was pretty awesome to watch. So good show for that, but, man, what a big weekend coming up for racing.
Tyler Erb, he was the winner in the A main. You got 6th in the C. Tony Jackson finished 7th in the A main. Car count 109 at Springfield.
Wow.
That was UMP Summer Nationals, and 45 late models, as you said, and 23 Midwest mods and 23 B mods. So
wow.
For a Tuesday night show.
On a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
This weekend is the most jam-packed weekend, I think, of racing in our area because you got high-limit sprint cars coming to Wheatland Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you've never seen a World of Outlaw sprint car race, high limit's going to be here. I think Kyle Larson's racing Thursday night. I think. So don't burn me to the ground but I'm 99% sure Kyle Larson's racing. And Friday, Saturday will be good shows too. Those are all separate shows. I-44 Speedway has the Larry Phelps Memorial.
Fireworks.
I'm sorry, the Salute to 75 and fireworks. The Larry Phelps Memorial is at Monette Friday and Saturday night. The Firefall is at Springfield Raceway with Cash Me Outside late models Saturday night. So, or 4-state late models Saturday night. So it's I think Midway's 4th of July show is actually on the 4th. So everybody's racing this weekend. Big races coming up, and it's going to be a pretty awesome weekend of racing. We're headed to Muskogee, Oklahoma for the first time for the for Memorial Race there, and pretty cool event we're going to, and looking forward to that. So different tire rule than what we are used to, but new racetrack, different tires, and see what happens.
What's been the intel you've received on the Muskogee track? What are some of the things you need to watch for?
Big, wide, fast, flat. So the old fairgrounds there. Thunderbird Speedway is where it is, and it will be it's the Hayden Ross Memorial, and I got to race against Hayden my first year racing dirt, and I think maybe a little bit my second year, but he was killed in an ATV accident. He was 16, 17. You're a very young kid. Really up-and-coming star of our sport. So to have a memorial race, and it's $6,066 to win Friday and Saturday night. So pretty cool payout, and we want to go down there and support that event. So cool big event for the late model guys there, and then not too far away from home. So straight down 44 to I think you get off at Big Cabin or somewhere in that area. So
go over by Grand Lake, I believe.
Yes. Yep. So not too bad, and we'll head to Muskogee and see what happens.
What about getting back on the Mars schedule?
3 more weeks, I think, off. So the 18th, 19th, and 20th of July will be
Farmer City, I think, is the first
yes.
race.
Farmer City, Peevely, Quincy. So that gets and then we have so we will race Muskogee this weekend. Our next time we're close to home is coming up. The Diamond Nationals is 11th and 12th of July. We will be at that at Wheatland. So look, that's a 2-day show at Lucas Oil Speedway this year. Looking forward to that. That'll be a fun weekend at home, and should have our merch and stuff there for that one. So I think our merch is about done, and we'll have some stuff for people to buy and take home, and hopefully have a good weekend there.
I-44 Speedway, they had the Steve Folt Memorial as Dylan Bates won the late model feature. Ryan Shoemaker was the faster pastor as he won that race. So good crowd again at I-44 Speedway, 51 cars in the field.
They had a packed house that night, so that was really cool to see the pictures and the videos I've seen of the night. We were baseballing with Braden that weekend, so it was a lot of fun. But, man, they had a awesome crowd, and they'll have a big crowd there Saturday night. So if you've never been to the fireworks at I-44 on Saturday, definitely go to tier parking, get there early, barbecue, and bring your favorite beverage of choice, whether it's Prime or Busch Light or whatever you want over in tier parking, and have a good time. And it'd be a lot of fun to. That's always a great race to watch. So the swimming pool and the races at I-44 were very appealing for the weekend, but we're going to take 4th of July off and regroup that weekend, and then be ready to go for the Diamond at Wheatland.
We both know that I-44 Speedway is the best possible venue in the United States of America for a fireworks show.
100%. And the Salute to 75 is a very special race to me. We tried to get something together for that, and I should have started working on it way before I did, and just didn't have enough time. But that's probably the most important, biggest night of the year, for I-44 for me personally, that Military Appreciation Night. So pretty awesome to see that one coming up. They've done a good job expanding on it, and can't beat fireworks and races. So there's a lot of that going on this weekend, and then we'll be ready to go back here in a couple weeks, back home too.
Catch the NASCAR race at Pocono Sunday?
Did not watch a single lap. I've listened about it. Chase Briscoe was a winner, right? On fuel mileage.
Yep.
Good. Saved 3 laps, so they 3 laps short under green and made it up, is what they said. So that's pretty incredible, what he was able to do.
Yep.
A little bit of a problem with the car. If you've not listened to Mark Martin's interview with Kenny Wallace on YouTube and all his podcast network, I highly suggest listening to that about the state of the sport. I think it's eye-opening, and I think it's good for people to hear. I feel like Mark Martin's the voice of reason in our sport, and when Mark speaks, everybody listens. So
I haven't seen it or heard it, but I understand he didn't hold anything back.
He held nothing back, and Mark's been there and done that. Mark, you watched Mark growing up racing, and my respect for Mark Martin is probably higher than anybody's in the sport. So, if Mark Martin says something, you need to listen. And, I feel like he's very fair in his analogy and what he's saying. And, the truth of the matter is racing's changed. Good, right, wrong, indifferent. Go look at the race last night. It was incredible to watch. It's just different. The racing is better than racing now is better than it's ever been before. It's just different. There's no way 20 years ago you'd have driven a dirt late model as hard as you can drive it for 30 laps in a feature. It's not happening. No matter how much you think the track's going to be, you have to conserve fuel, conserve your car, conserve your tires. Your wear and tear on your tires is huge. Well, the tires are, honest to God, probably better, but your car, your shock packages, everything's changed so much. So, it's made the racing better. Dirt racing went from looking for half a second to looking for half a tenth. And a bad pill draw will put you in a really bad situation right now. So, pretty incredible. I mean, Kay Dillard last night checked out leading the heat race, has a flat, starts last in the C, and did not make the race. Make it out of the C. Fastest car there. Set quick time in Group B. That's how different and how hard it is. He's the fastest car, obviously, in Group B, and can't get out of this, goes to the back and can't go forward. So incredible how much racing has changed and how competitive and tough it is.
NASCAR in Atlanta Saturday night and back on TNT as far as viewership is concerned.
Prime was awesome. I don't know if you're watching those races. That was incredible. I hate to see him leave Prime. I hope everybody else learns a lesson from their post-race shows and what they're able to do. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Good luck on the trip to Muskogee.
We'll see you next week.
All right. That'll do it for this week's podcast, brought to you by Larry's Lakeside Auto Repair at Osage Beach. Their number 573-302-1810. And again, a shout out to Brennon's Assistance, McDowell Wrecker Service, and Dynamic Diesel Repair. Kevin Stubblefield for Brennon Willard. Thanks for joining us from the studios of LEB TV.